Hey guys, alrighty. So today was FOMOC meeting day. Unsurprisingly, we got no rate hike. Fed held steady. So a little bit surprising here today, though, is the story that the Fed held steady that we are going to see, according to them, 3 rate cuts by the end of 2024. Now, again, with back-to-back months of inflation rising, one would have expected the Fed to pull back a little bit on that. I definitely would have expected them to drop back down to at least 2 rate cuts, maybe even 1 rate cut. But it was kind of interesting, Jay Powell's response when he kept getting asked about inflation. He kind of really jumped at one person and said, this is, read the data basically, and said that we're not worried about 2 months of data to affect our decision, essentially. I thought that was interesting because he also has said numerous times that the 7 months of data that they had of good inflation, essentially, was not enough confidence to cut already. So kind of an interesting spot that we're sitting in right now. We're sitting basically we're at all time highs at close right here. We're sitting with the no change in expectation. So again, that is bullish. The way I'm seeing this right now is, the market survived the BOJ meeting and we survived FOMOC today. At this point, there's zero things that I see in the near future. Within about a month is the next CPI reading, but outside of that, I just really don't have any sort of bearish events or scenarios or really anything that I can think about that can throw, a wrench at this market. Now, the one thing I will say is that occasionally market on FOMOC days will digest it negatively or opposite overnight. We have seen that play out quite a few times, so I will be interested to see how this market reacts overnight. Especially seeing that we're closing basically at all-time highs. I am very curious to see how this market's going to play out tomorrow. But looking at, SPY here, we broke through our critical 517.16. We're well over that. Now, a lot of times when we break through a critical previous supply resistance, we will backtest it before we push higher. So I'm looking out on the radar for that. But right now, our upper trend line really takes us up to 525.36 as our next potential upside target. Going over to ES here, same thing. We got our support the other day. We closed directly at 52.39. We essentially just turned that into support today. We're putting our candle body on that. So previous resistance is now support. So if we do come back down, this is where we should be looking to go long. Now, same thing here. We could see a double top and come back down. But if we push up, our upside target is 53.44 area. Now, the one thing I will say on the Qs here, the difference is that on the Qs, we have not broken, as you can see, through our double supply range. Now, again, I've been saying for about a month now that tech is the laggard. Tech is what's been holding us down from a further breakout. So the fact that we have not closed over this double supply here does make me worry just a little bit that we might see a pullback tomorrow, but if we close over 445.79, then likely we are just going to see that upside continuation. All-time highs for the Qs right now is 448.64. Now, going over to NQ here, so same thing, we had that supply at 18,473. It appeared for a while that we were going to close under, but we got a nice little pop here after hours, so we're going to definitely close over that level. So same thing here, a lot of times we will come back down, touch this level, and then push up. So I would not be surprised to see a little bit of a drop overnight, but it'll be about 100 points, 75 points or something, 50 points before we push higher. But to the upside here, all-time highs is 18,691.25. So that would be our target if we continue to push the upside here. Now, looking at the VIX, this is the big story that we've been talking about for 4 months now. Now, again, we had been previously making lower highs for 4 months in a row now. Today's candle and this closure under 13.11 demand, this is the first time that we have not only broke back below, but closed under a previously put in demand for the last 4 months now. So again, we're going to have major support in this 12.08 to 12.79 area. But with the VIX on a major sell-off like this is very, very bullish for the markets. And this is a really big opportunity for the bulls. Going over to the dollar yesterday or today, we had a really big pop today, all the way up almost to the penny to our 104.14 trend line. Hard rejected and then bearishly engulfed, sitting right on top of the 8 EMA here. If you look at it, really the dollar's been in this 102.786 to 104.144 range all the way back since here on February 20th. With this hard rejection here, we are looking at a potential turn back down to 102.786, which should provide an upside lift in the market. The 10-year had an interesting move today. So on initial reaction to the FOMC data, we had a big sell-off on the 10-year, but it got bought back up. Now, my expectation is that the 10-year got bought back up because honestly, yes, the Fed was dovish today, but their reason for being dovish wasn't because they had great concrete data that said, yeah, we can for sure cut 3 times this year. Their real reasoning for being dovish today was pretty much because they didn't want to change anything, because they just didn't want to change it. They didn't really say, yeah, we feel 100% confident inflation's coming down, which is going to lead to for sure 3 rate cuts. They didn't say that we're seeing data trending our way. Basically everything was that we're just going to hold steady and we're going to see essentially if this was, essentially two months of one-off up data, or if there's a new trend to the upside forming here. So, again, that's not really high confidence long-term to, the bond market. So that's probably why we saw this bounce here. Came right off the 8 and 20 EMA and then bounced back up. So, same thing here. We got our 4.085% to really 4.33%. That's been our range since all the way back here on February 5th. Looking at Bitcoin on the weekly time frame, we put that new supply and we did come down and take out 61.5. We basically got a weekly 8 EMA support bounce, and now it looks like we're going to attempt to get that next breakout to the upside here. So would not be surprised in the next week or two to see a new all-time highs on Bitcoin there. So, all right, guys, I hope you guys had a good day trading today, and I will see you guys tomorrow.